everybody. All right, Jets fans. Well, here we are. We have a victory to discuss this week. It's been a minute. It's been a little bit of time between the last time we got to pull away from a game with the big fat W. I am GreenBean, and welcome to episode 134 of GreenBean's Jets Pod. Man, oh man, it's such a weird thing being a Jets fan. I have to admit, I've been around here a long time. As many of you know, this is my 41st consecutive year rooting for this interesting franchise, let's call it. 41 years. You know, I didn't even think I'd live to be 41, especially being a fan of this team. But here I am, a fan of the team for 41 years. And it's an interesting thing because it seems like it's repeat, like it's on a cycle. Maybe feels the same a lot. It's weird because as fans, we've been around a long time. Even to our newer brothers and sisters in pain, welcome aboard. I hope you have your boots on. That's all I want to say. Pack a lunch. It doesn't matter, if we win, we lose. There's always pain involved, right? When's the last time we just watched a good game? Hard-fought battle, maybe, or even when's the last time we saw a stress-free game? Well, what about that? We don't see that ever. We don't ever see stress-free, but a good game that you just leave the game and you go, boy, oh boy, was that a fun game. We did this right, we did that right. That was a little scary. I'm glad we came out of that. And we won, and let's look to next week. It's never like that for the Jets. And what makes it even more interesting is that we can somehow find more positives out of a loss sometimes than we can a win. We're wacky. It's a wacky place to live. And I don't even know how to put it into like quantifiable terms. I don't even know what it is anymore. It's a mess. Oh, it's a mess, but I'll tell you this much I can tell you. I'm happy that we had a win today. I'm happy that we beat the Broncos. I'm happy that the baloney that Sean Payton gave us in the offseason, look at the Jets, hard knocks. We didn't want hard knocks. We didn't want any of this stuff. We didn't want all the hubbub, the pomp, the majesty. We didn't want any of it. But they came, they made us take it, and then we get ridiculed by this guy. And it was nice to go into his house and stuff some of those words right down his gullet. Wasn't that nice? I always like to do that. I think that's a nice thing to do. And, it's really the best thing to do, in my opinion. When someone talks a load of smack, the best thing that can ever happen is that you're able to take a big handful of that smack and you're able to make them eat it. I mean, that's just the best. Sometimes you got to eat it yourself. It doesn't feel good, but it's the way of things. It's the way of things. So before we get started, I do want to make a little bit of an announcement here. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me and sticking through this long period where I was in jail here on this platform, this internet platform. And I have recently been reinstated to be in good standing with YouTube. So I'm grateful. I'm happy. We are back, so to speak. I'm going to put out more content. I was very bare bones for a while because, hey, it takes the wind out of you to being in YouTube jail. So I'm back. I want to thank all of you guys for the support throughout it. A lot of you came over to the Talking Jets network with us. And we've been doing the live streams over there for Thursday Thick of It and the live reaction for the game streams. They've been robust. We've been having a great time. And I'm just grateful that you guys do all that with me because I love it. I love the opportunity to hang out with all of you. Sincerely, it's the best. And here we are back on this channel. So thank you. And hopefully we can have some more fun, right? That's what we're trying to do here. So here we are, episode 134. I would like to say that it's very important. Now that I'm back, give me a little bit of a celebratory milk thumbs. Okay, we can do a little bit of that. Give me the milk thumbs. That's the thumbs up button. And if you have not subscribed to this very channel, Green Bean Jets fan, it is greatly appreciated. What better time than right now? A little bit of a celebratory, hey man, congrats. Give me a little sub. It's greatly appreciated. It's how we grow here. And if you're listening on the audio side, you can do all sorts of things there too. 5-star reviews, all kinds of fun stuff. And that is appreciated as well, guys. This isn't a strange thing, being a YouTube Jets guy, but I've grown to love it, honestly. I think it's just fantastic to get to meet all of you guys. Don't forget, we have our Monday night football against the Chargers. We have our big meetup. There's 4 or 5 tickets left for real. If you want to get in on that with us, come on in. Go to talkingjets.com. We're tailgating with Tailgate Joe, legendary tailgate. Tailgate Joe at every single Jets game. We're going to be there with them. And we're going to have on-field access, and we're going to take pictures, and we're going to hang out. We're all sitting together. It's going to be a great time for Monday night against the Chargers, and I hope you can join us. TalkingJets.com is where you can find all that stuff. Every ticket purchase, I believe, comes with a Talking Jets t-shirt as well. So good stuff, man. Come hang. And don't forget about our sponsor, the one and only Testosil, the all-natural testosterone booster. Men, as you know, start losing their testosterone in many cases in their mid to late 20s. So if you're feeling like you need a little bit of oomph, you're feeling like you're just not the same, a testosterone booster might be just what you're looking for. Testosil is the all-natural version of this thing. If you're going to do it, you might as well do it with the all-natural. All Green Bean viewers, by clicking the link in the description that says Testosil, will get $10 off their first bottle and a free bottle thrown in. Plus, if you don't like it, if it's not doing what you need it to do, no questions asked, money-back guarantee, all through Testosil. Thank you, Testosil, for the sponsorship. So, guys, we won. We went into Denver and we won, which is good. But we didn't blow them out like so many Jets fans all of a sudden thought we were going to be capable of doing, which is bad. Breece Hall is an absolute maniac, which is good. But it looks like we might have lost AVT for the second damn time in a row in the same game in the same stadium, which is bad. We dominated the second half, dominated it. They only had one drive worth of shit in the entire second half, which is good. But the refs, they wouldn't even have had that drive if there wasn't some questionable stuff going on. And once again, it seems like they just want to elongate their drives. When we got about to get off the field, we stopped the team. Something always happens. Something always gets called. When there are calls every single play that don't get called on our side. And it happens again. And it looked like it definitely shifted the momentum, definitely gave them a score. And it looked like it might be taking the game away, a la the KC game the week before, which is bad. So, right, so much stuff. Zach Wilson looks like he's not quite as bad as he always was for the last 2.5 years, which is good. But he still can't seem to get in the end zone, which is bad. You see what I'm saying? It's like this crazy mixed bag of baloney that you just don't know how to stomach it. And some people are focused on the negative side and say, see, blah, 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 it's bullshit. And other people are like, hey, man, we won the game. We look good. Zach, Breece, all this stuff. So it depends on which side you're on. You can find enough data. You can find enough support for either side, which is fantastic. But it's still, you just want to watch a game once where your team just goes in there and wins, just plays a good game and wins without the baloney. But here we are nonetheless. So what did we see? The Jets beat the Denver Broncos in their house as 2.5-point underdogs, 31-21. Now, the interesting thing about that is that the defense scored 9 points. So the offense, once again, not quite what we need. 5 field goals today. 5. And it should have been 6. Now, it's great that we have a consistent field goal kicker, which, as you know, if you're a Jets fan for a little while, you know is not necessarily guaranteed. We've had some rough field goal kicking situations. So he made 5 of them today, which is great. It's killer. At least he's making them. But it should have been 6 because right before the half, we had that whole thing where, I mean, you just don't see this in today's NFL very often, where we mismanaged the clock and we didn't get the snap off to stop it, and that we were in field goal range. It's like a free 3 points almost guaranteed. It's close to a guarantee as you can get. And the clock ticked down and we had to walk off the field without anything. So we left a lot of points on the board today. We left touchdown opportunities. We were in the gold zone, as Hackett likes to call it, 4 times, maybe 5. I think 4 in the second half, with no touchdowns. Now, the one touchdown that we did have came on the back of the beast, right? Let's talk about Breece Hall, number 20, our second-year running back, Breece Hall, who, by the way, like AVT in last year's Denver game, went out for the year, right? So we lost Breece Hall in the year prior version of this game. So it's good that didn't happen, because Breece Hall, let me just tell you, had 22 rushes, which is the most that he's had this year, for 177 yards. That's an 8-yard average and a touchdown. And he also snagged 3 receptions for 17 yards. So 177 plus 17, that's 187. That's 194 total yards from scrimmage for one Breece Hall. That's what we call domination. That's what we call a guy that you could label as a bell cow back. Now, the Jets love to sprinkle in Dalvin Cook, who, interestingly enough, had his best game, 6 rushes for 23 yards. He had a 3.8-yard average. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of taking snaps away from Breece Hall for Dalvin Cook. And I'm also not a fan of him being in there before Michael Carter. I think Michael Carter's got more juice in his legs and he's got more ability to do things. But I have to admit, Dalvin Cook that is, he looked a little bit more sprightly today. He looked like he had a little bit more gas. Still didn't break anything, but he wasn't terrible in his role. 6 rushes, 3.8-yard average. Couldn't seem to do the things we maybe hoped he wanted. We wanted him to do yet, but he's steadily kind of on the uptick maybe. So that's good to see. But Breece Hall, man, if there was ever a difference between your running back 1, 2, and 3, it is Breece Hall and the rest of our stable. Now, we don't know what Israel Abanikanda is going to be able to do for us, right? He's our 5th-round rookie. Lots of hope and potential there, but he's been inactive, and he was inactive for the Denver game. So we don't know what he's going to bring. Who knows, right? But as far as the 3 running backs that we're bringing in, not counting the fullback, Breece Hall is light years ahead of the other guys. I mean, it's not even a question. And you saw it today, man. It's like he can make something out of nothing. He can find the hole. He can squirt through tackles. And then even we saw a little bit of the old juice. He was able to outrun the defense today, which was really great to see, because the last couple big runs that he had, he was able to get caught. And you thought, oh, man, he doesn't quite have the burst and the speed that he might have had last year. Well, it looked present in this game, and that was really great to see. Now, look, I'd hate to see them burn him out. I'm shell-shocked. I think you can't use a guy that much. He's gonna get hurt. And that's just, it's because we've been through it. I got PTSD, man. We're not used to having guys last anymore. But, man, if you can get this guy 20-plus touches a game, this is what he's going to be able to give you. And especially if the quarterback at this time, currently, Zach Wilson, can actually play even an efficient game and make the defense pay if they're stacking the box, Breece Hall's going to have a field day. And you saw it against the Broncos, and it's a beautiful thing to see. He had that big run for a touchdown last year in the same stadium, and this year a 72-yard run for a touchdown. Amazing. And Breece Hall is a stud, and it's so nice to see them finally starting to give him the ball. We saw Xavier Gibson out there a lot more today. Ruckert, I'm not sure of his snaps at this moment, but I know that he was out there. Did he have any catches? Let me see. He did. He had one catch for 2 yards, Jeremy Ruckert. So a little bit different than last week, but it's nice to see him out there. He had some thunderous blocks. And look, if that's all you use Ruckert for in any particular game plan, he's going to do a good job, and you know that, and you can trust him. So we had that. Now, Zach Wilson's day looks a little bit different, right? Now, it's a shame because, in my opinion, Zach Wilson, the last 2 weeks, and even going back to the Dallas game, too, the Patriots game, he looked abysmal. In Dallas, he looked like he might be taking a step. Confidence, footwork, little things like that. In Kansas City, he had his best game of his career, in my opinion. And then this week, he didn't light the world on fire, but he looked proficient. He looked, I saw lack of confidence sometimes, but by and large, more confident than we're used to seeing. He's all but eradicated the running backwards thing that he does, but he's still able to escape and get out of pressure, which in the first quarter, the offensive line was looking a bit suspect. And he was able to get out of a lot of that. And then he starts running forward, which is just amazing to see. A quarterback that when the play breaks down, he could just run for the first down, run for 6 yards. I love to see it. Zach Wilson's able to do that. But if you look at just the numbers at the end of the day, it doesn't look great, right? He's 19 for 26. Not terrible. But 199 yards and a pick, no touchdowns. He got us in the red zone 5 times, but he's no touchdowns. Again, the Breece Hall long run, the offense gets in the end zone. That's great, but Zach Wilson was able to move the ball, get us first downs, keep the defense off the field, which is so incredibly helpful, and get us points. So it's so many positives there, but we left points off the board consistently. And it's a bummer to see because Zach Wilson, no matter what he does, no matter how many steps forward he takes, outside of that KC game, he really does struggle to get us in the end zone. And it's unfortunate. Look, I'm the first one to say, I think Zach Wilson is not very good overall. All the talent in the world, that's where we are. It's 2.5 years with this guy. Like you can see, right? You can see. But you want to believe that he can be like a serviceable guy, right? Top 20, right? 20, maybe if he could be the 18th ranked quarterback, you'd be like, oh, good, we're on to something here. But at the end of the day, even with all that, you have to get in the end zone. And throughout his career, even in this year's preseason, going into the season, he has such an obstacle in front of him from getting to, even if he's inside the red zone, into the end zone. He just struggles to, it's like the brakes get put on. Now, some of that can be put on Hackett. There's a lot of talk about the conservative play calling in the gold zone. Running on first almost every time, running on first and second, and then you put Zach in a pinch to have to pass it on third down. And that whole thing. And it's a dynamic that sets you up for failure if you can't break through on one of those 2 runs. So even if we were getting 3-4 yards a clip, that's great and all. But at the end of the day, it's third and goal from the 6 or whatever it might be, from the 5. And Zach's now got to throw it in because you don't feel like you can run it in from 5 yards out. So maybe we're putting him in a little bit of a disadvantage there. But at the same time, he's got to be able to get in the end zone. And they have to be able to trust him in that spot to get him in the end zone. So it's a mixed bag. Again, if you're a Zach supporter, you can certainly find enough meat on the bone here to chew on. But if you're a Zach detractor, I mean, it's the same result. It's the same result. Man, getting down there, getting into 5 field goals, and the lack of field goal before the first half. Look, you can blame Saleh for a little bit of clock mismanagement. Maybe he should have called a timeout a little earlier. There's definitely that. I was yelling some stuff during the live stream. But at the end of the day, when you have 9 seconds, as a quarterback, you have to know, I take a shot at the end zone. So if it misses, the clock stops. You don't hit somebody in the middle of the field. They leave the middle of the field open for that reason. You don't hit somebody for whatever 5, 10, 15 yards, depending on where you are. You don't do it with 9 seconds left. And then if you do, you have to have the highest sense of urgency to get everybody full speed, run back. It just didn't feel like that urgency it's almost like they thought they had 5 more seconds and they didn't. So leaving those points on the board or off the board, watching Zach Wilson and the offense kind of stumble up there and throw the ball down with 0 on the clock, it's embarrassing and it sucks because, again, going into the half down by 2 and all that, it's just a whole different feel. Now, here's the good thing with our team. Up until this game, the Jets have not let up a second half touchdown all year. I'm sure you've already heard that. They haven't let up a touchdown all year in the second half. They came right out, up and 3, down and 3, stopped the Broncos. Zach goes down, touchdown, Breece comes back out, defense stops him again. So we were rocking. We dominated the second half, but we couldn't get in the end zone, so we never quite pulled away. It was a 1-score game almost the whole time. They scored a touchdown, helped by the refs, in my opinion. Again, they scored the touchdown, and now it's attainable. It's a 3-point game. It's a 3-point game, just like that. 1 touchdown, 1 drive. And that's where the shame comes in. Because the truth is I do believe Zach Wilson's playing better football. I do believe that there's a different version of this guy than we've seen for the most part throughout his career. But results are results, are they not? And that's what we're looking at. Michael Carter also had one rush for 8 yards. So that's the thing. You got Dalvin Cook 6 for 23. Michael Carter 1 for 8. I'm a firm believer that Michael Carter should be in there before Dalvin Cook. But hey, somebody makes $7 million and somebody doesn't. Somebody's name is recognized and somebody's isn't. So there are those types of political things maybe going on, which I don't agree with, but it is what it is. Now let me say the play of the game. What's the play of the game in your opinion? Obviously, it's going to be the final offensive play from the Denver Broncos where Quincy Williams, who already had a sack on that drive, this was the Broncos' big last oomph. They just scored. They were going to do the whole thing, right? The momentum was on their side. The crowd was in it. They were going to do it. Quincy Williams comes in, boom, big sack. Then he comes around the left end and chases Russell Wilson down. Strip sack. Bryce Hall filling in for the injured DJ Reed today. Scoops it up and runs it into the end zone to get us up to 31. Puts the game out of reach. 99% out of reach for the Broncos. And it's a wrap. So that's obviously going to be the play of the game. But there are hidden plays of the game. Now, this was my play of the game. The Jets were trying to kill the clock, right? Keep the lead, the whole thing. We needed a first down. It was 3rd down. Zach Wilson throws the ball to Tyler Conklin, a tight end. And he decides, I don't feel like going down. I already got the first. I know it. It's good. But he decides to carry 5 Denver Bronco tacklers 18 yards down the field. A little bit of help by some Jets friends. A little bit of help keeping him up, pushing a little bit of momentum, a little bit of oomph behind him. But he had 4 tacklers for most of it. A 5th jumped in. He carried him 18 extra yards after contact. And that is the type of play that I want to see our team do. That's the type of play that steal souls from the opposing team. That's the type of play. And you got to stack that stuff. I love to see it. I think I was yelling something along the lines of, that's what men do. Something like that. It gets me pumped up. But look, here's the thing. We're 2-3. We're not 1-4 like the Broncos. Hackett got to have his little party there. So the Broncos are 1-4. The Jets are now 2-3 after losing Aaron Rodgers, right? So we're scrapping, we're kicking, we're fighting, we're clawing. And now we got to play the Eagles. It's our last game before the bye. The Eagles are undefeated, but they're undefeated by playing maybe not the top competition in the NFL, right? Maybe not the top competition in the NFL. So they beat the Pats, who are 1-4. They're at 25-20. They narrowly beat the Vikings, 34-28. They beat the Buccaneers, 25-11. They barely beat the Commanders, 34-31. And then they beat the Rams 23-14. So it's not to say these are bad teams or the Jets would also automatically beat them or anything. But it's not the Chiefs, it's not the Cowboys, it's not the upper teams yet, right? They have a lot of work to do. They still got to play the Dolphins, the Chiefs, the Cowboys twice, right? So they got a lot of that to do yet. Now they're gonna have a great season. But the point being, I think we can compete with this team. Geesh, if we had Aaron Rodgers, I'd be literally thinking we're going to win. Now, our ability to compete with them, it's at home. So coming off a victory, Jets fans are going to be there. Philly fans are going to travel up. It's not that far. It's a close away game for them. So, but we're going to be there loud and proud. We're going to have the win at our backs. And we're going to go into this game, and they have been struggling, really putting the lesser teams of the NFL away. We beat this team, and we can. Will we? I don't know. I think it's somewhat of a long shot, but we can compete with them. We're able to stack that win on top of Denver and go into the bye at 3-3 after all this crap. It means something. Coming out of the bye, playing the Giants and the rest of these guys. It's the dip in our schedule. We can have all the momentum we need. Come out of the bye, now you're 4-3. Just hypothesizing with you. 4-3. Now we're on to something. We beat the Eagles, and we're on to something. So what do we need to do that? What do we need to beat the Eagles this week? We need a little bit of luck. Okay, I'm all about that. We need a little bit of maybe the refs not looking to penalize us. What was with that ref when he called the Bryce Huff roughing the passer? He looked mad. He looked mad at us. Rah! You're roughing the passer. Why are you so angry, man? What is that? What's with the hatred, the venom? I don't like that. I don't think it's necessary. We're warranted, especially on a ticky-tack, man. Ticky-tack roughing the passer. Zach Wilson gets a face mask, hands right in his face mask. Nothing. Zach Wilson hasn't gotten remember, I think it's 23 straight games now without a roughing the passer penalty called for the Jets. It's 2021 is the last time we saw one. I want to just point that out. And then you get this stuff. So we get a little bit of luck. Maybe the refs just kind of lower their dander a smidge toward us. And we get some efficient football from Zach Wilson. Limit the mistakes. Have a little confidence. Garrett Wilson can get open. You got your tight ends. You got Breece Hall. We can get these guys going, and our defense can play the type of football that they play. We might have something. We might steal this one. And again, going into the bye at 3-3 after all this would be a pretty damn good thing. What do you think, guys? You think the Jets can beat the Eagles? Let me know what you think in the comments. With that all said, I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for bearing with me during this dark period on YouTube. I'm grateful for your presence. With that all said, have a great week. And as always, go Jets.